So this just in, Delhi air quality has deteriorated further as winter approaches. Anand Vihar records AQI of 392, falls into very poor category. Dwarka records AQI of 407, while ITO records AQI of 312. So as winter sets in, Delhi's air quality has again taken a sharp turn for the worse, with readings hitting deeply unhealthy levels across its monitoring stations. We have CNN News 18's Srishti Chaudhary joining us live. Srishti, very good morning to you. So could you please tell us what specific measures, emergency measures, are Delhi authorities implementing right now to curb emissions, and most importantly, are they actually being enforced on the ground?
Yeah, morning, Sukanya. Like as you just mentioned, the AQI levels have surged sharply over the last 24 hours. And so they were in the poor category. That means AQI between 200 to 300. But over the last 24 hours, they have risen to cross 300 at several places across the national capital. In fact, according to CPCB, the overall AQI of Delhi has also plunged into the very poor category. And in fact, the worry is that according to the latest forecast of IIT Pune, the air pollution levels will remain slightly higher in the next few days and will remain in the very poor category. And that is why the emergency measures, which are being, which usually come into effect as the AQI slowly progresses, have already come into effect. And even the India Meteorological Department had given us the details that the fog has also started developing in the early morning hours and the late evening hours, which is also a reason for this whole smog to also develop during this time of the year. In fact, Safdarjung Airport had recorded a sharp fall in the visibility, which fell to about 800 meters, which is the lowest so far this season, and the temperatures are also plunging. So all these factors combined are leading to this, this worsening of the air quality, and this is actually the usual time of the year when the smog first develops. And so far we haven't had a severe smog episode so far, but if the weather conditions remain unfavorable, it may turn so. But as of now, it's very poor, and so that is from the Delhi government so far, and this comes after the last week's artificial rain experiment. But as of now, there is no rain also expected over the national capital, which could be good news for the people here. So I think the people need to take adequate precautions as they step out and wear masks, because prolonged exposure to very poor air quality, as warned by doctors and scientists, can be really, can be hazardous for health, especially for the vulnerable population.
Right. Srishti, so how much of Delhi's current pollution spike can be attributed, you think, to local sources versus stubble burning in neighboring states?
So normally, if we go by the emission inventories prepared by the IITM, even by other institutes, see, most of the pollution comes from the vehicles and the biomass burning happening here, which is like high throughout the year. But the weather conditions turn unfavorable during winter. But during the last week of October and towards the first week of November, we also see a sharp fall in stubble burning incidents happening in the neighboring states. So over the last few days, the number of stubble burning incidents happening in those states has also slightly increased. But it remains to be seen how much of it is actually contributing to the air quality. When we last reported during at least the mid of October, the contribution of stubble fires to Delhi's air was limited to about 2%. It hadn't increased. So we'll have to see what the current data is, but it remains less than that. And overall, of course, the local emissions in the national capital tend to dominate. It's just that the weather conditions at this time of the year are such that all those emissions are now hanging much lower to the ground, which makes it very difficult, which brings down the ventilation index and brings the visibility down, makes it harder to breathe. So vehicular emissions, industries, biomass burning, and of course the stubble burning happening in the other states are all combined responsible for the Delhi's pollution mess.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing that input with us, Srishti.